Hey guys, welcome to another FishTec video. I've got something a little bit different for you today. As you know, I finished processing the Nyaka chart and the Nandoni chart. And then last week, I got invited to attend a presentation by Biobase on their new eco fish layer that they are selling. It was a really interesting um, presentation. And I thought, man, that I can see the value in that. Um, I don't have automatic fish location software. I sort of had to go through all my recordings. I just took two recordings. That's all I took. I just took two. This is in the eastern section of the dam. In fact, on the southern bank, eastern section, which is quite a nice big section. It's the first section we did. We used both boats. We used the two Amy's. It was the day that we arrived there from Hazy View when we were finished with Inyaka. And we just got there, we got settled in, and I said to Ronald, let's get those boats in and start recording. And what I did was, now this weekend, I've taken those logs, just those two logs. Let me show you what their path looked like. I think you guys would appreciate that. Then you can know exactly. Okay, that was the one boat. The one boat did that area. You can see this isn't just a computer generated path. This is her actual route that she took. You can see where she took off, and then she made a little circle there when she said, okay, my mission is done, you can pick me up, because somebody forgot to make a route for me to come back, so we had to manually drive her back, as you can see. And then the other boat is recording 369, and that was that one there. And same thing there. We were staying here at Yaku's place, which is over here. And then when this boat finished off, she did her little circles here. And then we just made the turn in and stopped the recording. But as you can see, the navigation on these boats is just something unbelievable. It really is something unique and to see. Let's just see. Let's leave those on and let's put the okay, that's the contours. You can see, let me turn the ISO baths on and off. So you can see where the trail is. You can see why it did it out there. You can see all the way out to that channel. You can understand why I mapped the way that I did. And there you go. What I've done for this one, I think we should, let's use the grayscale one. I think that's going to help us a little bit. Yeah, that will help us a bit. The reason why I've made a grayscale for this is to talk about the fish. So let's turn those trails off. We don't need the trails anymore. You know where we were. But what I want to do is have a look at this. Let's go back to this image here. You can see what I've done here is, this is the recording. This is what they call iron. I think it's the iron palette. And you can see all the fish arches. You can see them all scattered all over the place. Some sitting on the deck, some just off the deck, some suspended out in mid-water, some sitting over here. Then what I did next is I made it black and white. And I put the depth ranges in. So you can see where the depth ranges are. This is meters, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 meters, and then with the foot value next to it. And you can see those little arches quite nicely. And one of the most interesting things of this is this area here where I'm running my mouse now, the little hand. That is your thermocline. And it's deep, it's at 55-foot range. And then, of course, the final image at the bottom here, I've given those color depths that sort of, I think the shallowest fish I found was about 8 foot, you know, out of these two recordings. Obviously, I wasn't up on the bank. I got just under 8 foot, so that was fish really suspended right near the top. So that was your sub 10 foot to 20 foot is your red. Your 20 to 30 uh, uh, is this yellow section here. And then the 30 to 40 is the green. And then the 40 to 50 is the blue. And then the greater than 50 is obviously white. Okay, so how does that match up to our chart that I've created? First, we're going to start off with, that's your sub 10 foot to 20 foot. I'll blink them on and off. Interesting. Can already see some little alarms going off there. Next is your 20 to 30 foot range. My apologies. 20 to 30. Guys, keep in mind, this here is like 42 feet out here. This is deep water. 42, 45, 48, getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So this is your 42 along here. So that'll be your 45. So this is your 2030. So these fish are still suspended. These are suspended fish, mostly. When you come down this area now, okay, down here now it's starting to get a little bit shallower, 20 to 30 feet. I wish Google Earth would show these depth values better on these contours. Sometimes it takes a little bit of doing. Yeah, these fish are pretty much on that 30 foot, close to that 30 foot range in this shade of gray here. So these guys here that I'm going to flash on and off now, these guys are sitting exactly. They've read the textbook, the fisher's textbook to where you're supposed to be when it comes to structure. Because remember, this is structure that we're looking at now. We'll look at the cover later. I'll do the Ultra HF Mosaic overlay just now, and that's something worthwhile watching. That's going to be very interesting and very exciting. I've already had a peek, so I know what's coming. Very interesting. Okay, what's our next depth range? The green is a 30 to 40. Let's flick those on and off. Oh, okay. Again, we've got suspended fish a lot of the time, in that darker gray. Again, these fish are where they're supposed to be, close to this ledge here, hanging around. The deeper ones out there are suspended. These are actually sitting in the middle here of nowhere, just suspended, living their best lives. Very nice. Yeah, I tell you, fish. This just throws you off your game sometimes. It's just like, guys, what are you doing there? Why are you there? But it's very interesting either way. I said that's our 30 to 40 foot range. These oaks are sitting, these ones here are pretty close to the bottom. They're just a couple of feet off the bottom. This is your 42 foot range here. So that's 39 over there. You'd expect that little island to be packed with fish, eh? I don't know why not. And then we've got our 40 to 50, which is our blue. Okay, these guys are now starting to sit right on the deck, especially these ones here. These oaks are sitting right on the deck. 40 to 50 out here, suspended again in this deeper water, suspended slightly, suspended off this ledge here, sitting exactly where they should be, sitting exactly where they should be here. Man, isn't that interesting? Okay, these guys definitely also read the manual. Have we got any? Yeah, we got deeper fish, 40 to 50 feet, guys. 40 to 50 feet. There they sit. Okay, some just suspended in the channel. Others sort of, they started reading the book of where they're supposed to be and then put it down. But still very interesting. Okay, then final one, like we've mentioned before, or let's mention it for the first time. These are thermocline fish. These are your fish relating to the thermocline, to 55 foot range and a little bit over. These are your thermocline fish. And look at them, sitting in the channel. Okay, these three here don't make any sense. They're just suspended in the middle of nowhere. Those guys are exactly where they should be. That's exactly where they should be. On the thermocline, on the drop-off. so interesting. This is really, really interesting. Okay, there we go. You see how they're relating to that little channel there and that drop off there? Very, very interesting. Look, even these fish here in this very, very shallow area here, we even got one sitting out there in that little inlet there. And then, of course, there's one right there by the dam wall, just suspended in the very, very 100-foot plus region. Yeah, so at a glance, just turning all those off and on, it just it certainly tells a story. This area here, let's just see if we've got a satellite for that, a historic one. I think 2016 had. Oh, well, look at that, getting good, eh? Okay, those shallow fish are obviously right on that little block there, and yeah, that just makes total sense. But like I said in my presentation recently to the American audience, I said this is the lowest satellite that we've got for Nandoni, for example. And they've got exactly the same situation there. But what happens when this ends? What happens now? Now, what's going on here? Now you've got this information. You've got all these dots out here. You know there's fish out here. Somebody's put a fish locator out there and said, right, what's this? But it's not really giving you any information. There is, of course, your structure information, which makes complete sense. That really tells a great story, and a lot of it confirms, with the textbooks. But guys, it's time to turn on the magic. Let's have a look at HF. Let's look at the side scan mosaics and see how these fish and everything. Let me just turn all this off. And let's turn that off. Right. We said those are our trails, so that's the area that we're going to focus on. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Right, I'm going to turn on the Ultra HF. It's going to take a couple of minutes to load, and then I'll start the video again. Right, let's have a look what this looks like now with the Ultra HF, with the HD cover chart, because that is now not going to tell us just from a structural perspective, because everything makes sense from a structural perspective. But what doesn't make sense from a cover perspective? Let's have a look at that. Right, here is our recordings of the two boats, which is the upper section, which is about 60 to 70% of the recording, and then the bottom section, well, probably about a 60-40. I think that's what I mentioned earlier. Let's start putting our shallow fish in. Okay, there's our shallow fish. As we can see, let's start on the deeper side out here. You can see these are predominantly suspended fish, clearly, because this is deep water. So those are suspended fish. Things that stand out is these fish here sitting nearby here. Those fish are almost on this little spot here. I didn't even notice that little spot earlier, to be brutally honest with you. But other areas, nothing really, from a suspended perspective. But as we move over here to the shallower section, to the very shallow section, okay, then that just makes complete sense. These fish are sitting right on this section here. Those of you that know my charts quite well, yeah, as you can see, this area here, I messed up my Shadow Max technology. We're all human. We make mistakes. It's just so unfortunate. It would have really made that look so nice. But okay, let's move on to the next fish now. Now we're looking at the yellow, which is the 20 to 30 foot range. Let's turn on the 20 to 30 foot range, and I want to flash them on and off. Mostly, once again, in this area, it's just, yeah, it's just suspended. Those are suspended fish. There are some trees out there, but they're not those massive big trees like we got more down towards the more central west part of the dam. You can see there aren't massive big trees here. So these fish are there. There are some trees you can see from the recording, but it's not like the rest of the dam. And then let's just see, this is the 20 to 30 foot range. Okay, that just makes complete sense. Okay, those fish are sitting almost exactly where they should be. You know, you've got what looks like an old road or something running through there. We've got a lot of hard bottom here, steep drop off. If we turn those contours on, you can see that's got a steep drop off there. Yeah, these fish here have definitely read the manual of where bass and carp are supposed to hang out, and they are hanging out exactly where they should be hanging out. Okay, that's suspended, obviously very much suspended. That's very deep water out there. Come back over this way. Let's go to the next one now. We got the 30 to 40 foot range. Okay, these ones now in this area here, we've got a 42 foot depth here. So if I turn these on and off here, you're looking at fish that are pretty close to the bottom. These fish are pretty much close to sitting on the bottom. Here, these are sitting on a drop-off, so those will be suspended. Those will be suspended. Those ones out on the far left of the screen, those will all be suspended. But yeah, these okies here will be sitting pretty close to the bottom, as you would see from our previous recording, our sonar recording in the 2D mode. Same story there, also sitting pretty close to the bottom. Suspended fish in the middle of this channel here. Got a very deep channel. Those fish are just sitting out there suspended. Weird, eh? This area here on top of these rocks, you've got this point here, so you've got 39, you've got 42 feet. So these fish are suspending, but they are definitely relating to these little rocks, these little broken up little rock pieces here. So that's very interesting. So you've got, like very shallow, from that 10 to 20 foot range there, the 20 to 30 foot range is hanging off there, and then our 30 to 40 foot range also getting a little bit closer to the bottom, but there they sit. Same story here. That fish is exactly where it's supposed to be on that old road, which is very interesting. Yeah, you can see that. Very, very interesting. Some suspended fish out there a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to our next depth range now. Now we're looking at the 40 to 50 foot range. Now some of the guys will be like, no, man. But as we saw earlier, lo and behold, there they are. Okay, those fish are definitely now very close to the bottom. These fish are almost sitting right on the deck. You can see them there. The deeper fish here, a little bit more suspended. If I flick them on and off, you can see them. Interesting. Nothing really, that stands out. I would have said definitely here. Why is there nothing here? Why are these fish not sitting on top of this here? Because that's what I would identify. But obviously the fish don't have our FishTec HD Cover Charts. If they had our charts, I'll be like, that would be a good spot over there. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity, hey? But like we said earlier, geez, those oaks are exactly where they're supposed to be. They suspended, make no mistake, but you can see where they came from. That's home. That they just came up for a little look-see. Right, and then our deepest, our 50-foot plus. This is now our thermocline fish, the fish that are relating to the thermocline. And there they are. They're sitting on that edge, all around the edge there. These three sets here just sort of hanging out in this open water area here, in the much deeper water, very deep water. And then the others are sitting very close to the ledge. You can see in every case, as I'm flicking them on and off, most of them you'll see they're sitting, they're definitely relating to a ledge, without a doubt. Okay, except for these axe here. These axe are just hanging around in some deeper water here. You see, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, eh? That fish is there. And that's, so these fish are quite close to the bottom, in this case here. Out here, there's little rocky crops here. Is holding some fish. You can see there's a little, like a little hole here. It's like a little ditch, then comes up again a little bit, and you can see that's holding some deeper fish there on those harder little bits there. Have we got any here? Turn that on and off. There's some here in this deep sort of channel here, just swimming in this channel, probably just crossing over. And then, of course, by the dam wall, you've got some there too. So yeah, guys, very interesting. I could sit here for hours looking at these, but and I'm sure you could do the same. In fact, you know what? Do you know what I'm going to do? Anybody that buys this new Nandoni 2025, I will throw in this GPX file. I'll export these fish locations as a GPX, and we will include it as a special release, especially for you guys watching this video. It won't naturally just be on the card when we encrypt and we send it off, only for those of you, but let's make it special. You have to, in your order to Colleen, you have to include in your WhatsApp or your email or your online form that you fill in to contact us, just includes anywhere in there fish location. Please, no, just put fish location. That's all you have to write. Colleen will come to me and say, what is this all about? And I'll say, I know exactly what it's about. Let's encrypt those cards. When you're done with the encryption of the card, I'm going to give you a file that you need to include on those Nandoni charts that the guys have ordered. And I think you guys can have a lot of fun just zooming in. I haven't shown you a fraction of what you can actually see. But I think, once again, this just tells a whole different story and is very exciting how important both charts are, your structure map as well as your HD cover chart. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget, contact Colleen. I'll put her details in the video here somewhere, and order your Nandoni chart. And remember to include fish location in your order so you get this GPX file. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers for now.